Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Veritas nunquam periit was Johnny Depp's statement, which means I think the truth will not be vanquished. Anyway, trial of the century comes to a conclusion. The verdict is in. This is from the Guardian, Jojo.
Well, I have one from the Telegraph.
Oh, go ahead then.
Yes, so it is finally culminated in a result between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, which has gone on for weeks, and we've all become slightly obsessed with it because we love a little nosy into other people's lives.
Between that and Wagatha Christie, to be honest,
I know, isn't it?
Very little time to concentrate on life issues.
Yes, no, anything of actual... Well, and this was an important case, actually, because... You know, Amber Heard had made very serious allegations against Johnny Depp, which have today been found to be fake, or that she'd made them up. So I find it quite interesting that her sort of words afterwards, saying, you know, she was very disappointed and that it was beyond words, but also that she felt that the whole issue of domestic violence and women being taken seriously had put the whole, you know, thing of domestic violence back several
Women would
years.
not now feel confident to come
Absolutely.
forward.
But that, I mean, she's just been found guilty of lying.
Yeah.
So, Amber Heard, you have put this situation back because you've done nothing for women. You've made false allegations and then made it really difficult. You've made it difficult, you know.
I'm afraid that is the only conclusion you can come to unless you feel that justice has somehow not been done in court. But there was a point at which her counsel, when he was summing up, said to the jury, if you think they were both violent, then that means the verdict is in her favour. If you think that she was ever the victim of abuse, regardless of how many times she may have abused Depp, you must find for her. And they found for him. The question, I suppose, some people will ask is, did the jury obey that diction, that rationale, or did they just think, well, yes, but actually she's been out of order?
Because I think it is quite obvious that it was a volatile relationship. I mean, there's no getting away from that.
It does seem that way.
But when it comes into, you know, tit for tat, if you like, but if, you know, it goes into a court of law, and I know it was civil proceedings, but I don't know, I thought maybe she could have faced jail for lying. And, you know, I didn't watch it relentlessly, but, you know, it keeps popping up on TikTok. You know, seeing clips of it. And,
it's interesting you mentioned TikTok. I mean, there was one statistic mentioned on a news website which said that there's about 20 million people a night watch this case on one or other news network. There have been 20 billion views on TikTok of various sort of clips and
which in itself you kind of go, is that slightly manipulative, because you're just getting little clips out of context, you're getting reaction shots, you know, they're being manipulated, so people can come to their own judgment and go, yeah, she's a lying wench.
What do you think, Josh?
Well, yeah, I mean, so what she's been found is of basically defamation, like it's compensation charges.
And indeed defecation.
Yeah, exactly. So, because she wrote in a Washington Post article, she said she described herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse. Of course, that is now kind of true. It's just not the way that she wanted it to be.
No, that's right.
I have been following it to a degree, but it's like you'd see a video that was like, oh, well, she's really abusive. And then you'd see him smashing cupboards and you go, wait a minute, that's a little bit dodgy. And then you'd see her again. So it just seems like a massively toxic relationship. And
they've done better to keep it out.
And at some point, I just kind of tune out because Aquaman was rubbish, so I don't care about that. But, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean has been terrible for years. So there was just a point where I was like, you know what, Johnny Depp, is he going to make another good movie anyway? Is she really that good an actress? Not really on the stand. So actually, I just don't care anymore.
No, I think that's fair enough. What is interesting, though, is that she was, I think, commissioned possibly as an ambassador, as it were, for domestic abuse by the ACLU. And in that regard, their reputation is more significant than hers.
And they're getting a lot of stuff wrong at the moment, not just this domestic violence.
And I think that's a frustration, particularly for women, and personally, someone who, you know, is a survivor of domestic violence, that it is so frustrating to have women undermine the cause because it has to be highlighted. Domestic violence is a massive cancer in societies around the world. And so for something like this, it just is, why?